morning. Pleasure to have you here. So my name is David Adam Tello. To give you just a quick synopsis on myself, I want to move through. There's a lot of information to give you for today, and I have a short amount of time. Been in luxury hospitality for 15 years. I've had the pleasure or displeasure of taking care of some of the world's biggest VIPs, Michael Jordan, Madonna, you name it. I've managed hotels here in South Florida, restaurants, bars. I've seen pretty much the best of the best or worst of the worst when it comes to it. I'm known in my industry as somebody who is fantastic with people. I'm often referred to as a Jedi, a wizard, all these crazy names for the way that I'm able to deal with clients who can be very, very difficult at times and have a high level of expectation of service. I guarantee you what I'm doing is nothing out of this world. It's not magic. It just has basis in what I'm going to teach you here today, okay? Very quickly, should I ever point at the group at you guys, it means I need you to answer, okay? On the count of three, I want everybody, and only on the count of three, to say the word silk out loud 3 times. Silk, 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 on the count of 3. Nice and loud. Ready?
Silk, 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 silk.
Fantastic. What do cows drink?
No.
No, they drink water. Thank you, a few people in the back. Right? So it's kind of a cheesy parlor trick, right? But I use that to illustrate the point that the person who is leading an interaction or who's talking to people, I can place things in your brain to make you say things that I want you to say, to make you think a certain thing. So as people who are leading interactions with either clients or buyers or whatever it is, you can actually influence them in a really, really big way, okay? So we're going to move on through a couple quick things. Definitely want to say thank you to Residence Realty. That's my brokerage, my boss Paola. Thank you so much. It's the reason I'm here. We're a boutique brokerage in South Florida. Check us out, residencerealty.com. The Miami Association of Realtors and the YPN, thanks so much. And of course, District 4, all right? Real quick, just a couple of slides I'm going to run through. I just want you to redefine the way you see yourselves today, folks, okay? We're redefining not just ourselves, but how you see yourself, how you feel about yourself, how you talk about yourself, okay? All these things internalized, right? What we're going to learn today, when we put them outwards, are going to help us be better communicators at the end of the day with our clients, and not just our clients, but our families, our friends, all of our relationships. By the time we're done here today, we're going to go over just the history of basic communication, basic body language. And again, this is just the basics. There's so much more for you to learn. I'm going to give you the tools to do that by the time we get out of here. How our bodies speak to each other. We're going to do a couple of quick exercises as well. If we have time, I'll squeeze in another one too. How we can use this to our advantage in real estate, which is super important. And again, that homework for you to continue your journey on being a master communicator. That's what it's about. I've had some folks, when I've done these talks afterwards, have approached me and said, well, hey, maybe we're being a little disingenuous because we're using kind of all these parlor tricks. No, you're not really, because at the end of the day, what we're trying to do is communicate our best self. And as well, we are trying to understand our clients' communication as much as possible. We are in a sales job here, folks, okay? So we have commissions to rely on. That being said, when someone's going to fork over a bunch of money, they want to feel great about that. We need to make sure that they feel amazing about it. And how we do that is making sure that all of their internal needs are going to be met, okay? History, where does this stuff come from, okay? So we're talking millions and millions of years ago. Our ancestors and ourselves, we had to have a way to decode our world, all right? As we can see in the animalistic world, there's, pretty much body language being used every single day amongst animals, all right? Ourselves, we are a type of animal. We are earthlings. As we can see here, we can pretty much tell from this guy that maybe we shouldn't mess with that guy, right? Over here, this guy looks pretty serious, and as we can see, what is this little guy doing? Laughing, having fun, right? We didn't talk to these people. They didn't tell us anything, right? But we're absolutely understanding what is going on here because we have a fight or flight system within us. It is our subconscious. It's our gut feeling, right? We always hear that in things. Oh, go with your gut feeling. What are they talking about? It's the systems that our natural body has to let us know whether we are in danger, whether we need to run or get out of there, or if we're okay, if people are our friends, okay? It's that fight or flight. So again, if ourselves here in this room, let's say we were one big tribe and we lived on a big mountain and we loved our life and we had an amazing experience, but we've never seen any other type of humans around us, and all of a sudden over the ridge, here comes 200 people coming our way. How do we know if these people mean us well or mean us harm? Right? That's due to our body language and understanding these little subconscious communications. If you don't believe me, it's pretty evident throughout history. our ancestors have left remnants, right, of body language, and we can understand what's going on. There's no words here for the most part. Up here, cave drawings depicting their bodies. This is Egyptian art up here. If you can see, there's some folks under distress here. The distress was painted in. So we're understanding what's happening here. Right here in this scene, this is Greek art. What's happening here? Are they having a bad time or a good time? Pretty much a good time. They're probably playing some instruments here. Right over here, this is Sumerian art. This is one of the oldest civilizations in the world. Here you see that there's a lion, again, the aggressor attacking, but it's probably difficult to see here. But if you were to look closely, this gentleman here, does he look afraid? No, he looks pretty strong. He's grabbing him by the throat. We can assume that that's somebody of a high power or high status. So there's clues of body language throughout history that have been left for us, and we may not understand these languages. Languages change, they die, they disappear, but we understand what's happening because we can see their bodies. Positive symbols. So we have positive symbols is what we're going to cover first. I'm going to go from head to toe. I'm going to try to run through them a little quick. But there are positive symbols to tell people if we are friends or foes, right? If we're coming over that ridge. So we're going to start at the top of our heads. The quickest thing and the most positive thing you can do is what's called an eyebrow flash. Literally very quickly, we're just raising our eyebrow just very quickly while we're making eye contact with people. It is a subconscious reflex. If you do this to people, it's a fun game. Walk around the mall and just kind of smile and eyebrow flash them, and they'll do it immediately back. It's kind of a fun thing. You'll see them, they'll catch themselves, they'll be like, oh, why did I do that? So it's a positive symbol that, again, expresses positivity, and they want to express positivity back, okay? Positivity is very contagious. So eyebrow flash is a great one. Your smile, of course, right? It's pretty fantastic. But your smile as well has to have a certain amount of features to it to equate a good or real, genuine smile. The eyes need to be almond-shaped, nice and soft, okay? High cheekbones, nice and rounded here. Lots of crow's feet. I know we all hate that, right? Especially as we get older. But that's what makes a fake smile, is that there's no real action happening here with my skin. So keep that in mind. If you're a person who's not great at smiling, I was one of those people back in the day. I actually had to work in the mirror on my smile to make sure it came out nice and genuine in moments where maybe I wasn't feeling so smiley, but I had to be. All right? Happens sometimes, folks. We're in sales. So smile we covered. Fantastic. So our neck as well is kind of an important thing. If we're talking to somebody, your neck right here, you have two very important arteries. This is very sensitive space for us, okay? We can actually kind of tilt this at people when we're talking to them, right? So your neck right here with a nice head tilt, kind of I always reference, you know how dogs, when they're trying to understand you, will tilt their heads sideways, right? We do that too. It's a genuine natural feature, but if we just tilt our head at people, we kind of look weird like a dog. So the best thing we can do is kind of still tilt our heads where we're trying to understand our clients, but as well expose our neck. Means that we're not afraid, that we're open, we're communicating, we're understanding what's going on, but at the same time I have nothing to fear from you and I have nothing to hide as well, okay? Neck, perfect. We're going to go down to the chest area and arm area in here. It's kind of all interconnected. Chest as well, we want to have nice open posture. Our shoulders back and down. Our hands are going to be expressing nice and open. You often see magicians do that, right? When they're trying to do a trick to you, there's nothing up my sleeve, nothing up my sleeve, right? They're kind of feigning this to kind of dupe you into the trick, but they're using positive body language. So again, hands nice and open, exposed. So when we're talking about ideas with our clients, you literally want to keep those palms open. Hands as well, nice and digits open as you're explaining things. If you're a little comfortable using your hands while you're talking, right, you're a little uncomfortable, pardon me, you can actually clasp your hands just right in front and kind of just keep a nice neutral posture, or if need be, put your hands right here over the center core of yourself, right over your solar plexus. It's going to express that I'm just calm and I'm nice and grounded, nothing to fear here. You want a powerful trick to seem very, very kind of in charge and very knowledgeable, something called steepling. You'll see a lot of professors and people in high-level rankings do this. We're literally connecting one half of our body with the other half of our body, the energy flowing through, okay? And you'll see people do this. So if you're ever in a tense negotiation with a client, if you ever need to convince them that you're the expert in something, this is a great, powerful tool as you're talking to them, all right? Great, we're going to keep moving on. Hips and feet as well down here is important. So our hips want to be nice and straight and narrow. Our feet pointing towards the people that we're talking to. Okay, this is going to show that we're interested in the actual conversation. We're going to go into the negative body language and we'll talk why this is not good. But again, nice open position, nothing to hide here. We're exposing all of our vital organs here because we have nothing to hide. Okay, we're not afraid. Negative symbols, same thing. I'm going to go head to toe. So negative symbols, obviously frowns. We know frowns aren't great. We're all familiar with the term resting bitch face or resting dick face. I know I have one of those, so it's okay. We're all adults here, but it happens. So sometimes we don't really control our face. We kind of just operate how we are. We're just in our heads. Well, sometimes our faces can kind of grimace a little bit, so it doesn't look really great. Again, like we spoke in the positive section, we want to keep all of our face nice and soft. So down eyebrows, not good. Mothers, you'll hear that a lot as well too. Say, oh, my kids fear me when they see my eyebrows come out. My eyebrows will arch. Well, absolutely. That is a negative body language. Same thing with your eyes, piercing eyes, too much eye contact and round eyes. This is a predatory thing that predators do before they attack and pounce. They will literally look at you, their eyes get nice and round, they zero in on something, right? So we never want to be dealing with a client with our head down and negative body language looking through our eyebrows. Says this guy is going to look like he's going to eat me or chase me, right? So we don't want that. Same kind of thing now with our necks. If a neck is ever tucked in or someone is now using this area of their body with the vital organs and they're closed off. If you have gentlemen, especially guys, we do this a lot where we cross our arms in front. This is very negative body language. It basically means in our brains that we are forming an X in front of us to block your ideas mentally from us. So a great technique that I do with people, and especially the guys that I come across, it's good to put something in their hands. Hey, do me a favor, hold this for me. Then they have to uncross their arms and they have to be more open and receptive to the ideas that are coming. So any kind of crossing up front, closing the vital areas in here, closing of the neck inside, and again, closing off this area, not good. One thing also I want to touch on with the face that I missed is your ears and nose. If you ever see somebody that's kind of rubbing their ear as you're talking to them, they literally don't like the sound that's coming into their ear. They don't like the conversation. They don't like what they're hearing. So keep an eye out for that if you see people rubbing their earlobes in a difficult part of the conversation. Also, to the tip of the nose. It's literally what's called the Pinocchio effect. When someone's lying, your nose is actually going to tickle just a little bit because it gets flushed with blood because you know you're telling a lie. Might be quick as just a quick tap. Some people actually have to scratch it a little bit more, but keep an eye out for those little body language cues of negativity, okay? Again, continuing down to the body, we touched on closed off. Hands as well, important. There's a lot of negative body language in hands. If you're doing any kind of pointing, very aggressive. Forefinger pointing, very aggressive. You'll often see presidents. That's why they have that kind of presidential point, because it's very neutral, so non-aggressive. If you are, let's say, maybe in a tough point where you're dealing with either a client or an art in development, sometimes we're dealing with subcontractors, you may need to use an aggressive point to get your point across, but keep in mind that is negative body language, okay? Going down to the hips and legs. So as we mentioned in the last, in the positive section there, keeping it open and forward. Now, if we're talking to a client and all of a sudden we see that their feet start to shift away from us, they are not interested in that conversation. They're literally planting their foot out the door to move away from the conversation. So watch out for hips and feet. If you see that start to shift and move in a different direction, we may need to redirect their attention or kind of change our conversation a bit to get them back and invested, because they are looking to leave that and fight or flight that. They're looking to flight that, okay? Great. So now that we know some positive and negative body language, I want to do a quick exercise with everybody. So find the person right next to you or near you. I want you right now to do your best, happy, smiling, loving face to the person next to you. Take turns, very quick, 30 seconds, okay? Happy, positive faces, nice crow's feet, big smiles. Five more seconds. Quick. Nice. Okay. And perfect. Perfect. Great. Awesome. Did everybody get their best smile face in? Yes. Awesome. Okay, great. With the person next to you now, or another person, switch if you like. I want you to really show off your best mean face. You're a really aggressive mean face. Someone hurt you, someone did something wrong. Go. All right, and good, perfect. Okay, so everyone did their best mean face, yeah? Great, awesome. Last thing I want to do very quickly, okay? It's going to be a little bit of a tough one, all right? But love and that feeling of love and using that good kind of smiling face, we're going to kind of mix that up a little bit because I want you to feel this, okay? I want us, with the person next to you, you're going to say, I love you, right? However, I want you to use a mean face while you say it, and I want you to shake your head no while you say it. And I want you to try if you can, to convince actual real love and make them feel love with negative facial body language. Go. Perfect. Great. Okay, so a lot of laughing there, right? What a weird feeling, isn't it? So as we can see, right, that's what's called discongruency, right? So what does that mean? We have to have good body language and all of these processes happening to convince these words, to convince these feelings, right? If my face or my head is going the wrong way and doing something negative, I can't basically give to you positive emotions because my body is not congruent with my emotions, okay? So there's a sense of congruency that has to happen. So when people don't believe these things, oh, body language, that's the quack, that doesn't really work. Really? Well, I always tell people, try telling somebody and convincing them you love them while shaking your head no with a mean face. So good, I'm glad you got a chance to experience that. So let's continue going. So all those little individual things that we learned, right, no one thing is actually going to lead to the breakthrough for anybody. You have to learn to read the body like a paragraph. Each little thing, the eyebrow flash, the smile, the crow's feet, the hands, the feet, okay? Imagine all of those as actual letters forming sentences, and the body itself is the paragraph of what I'm saying or what I'm feeling, okay? So if you need to, if you have to kind of look people up and down a bit, all right, a little aggressive, but if you need to, fine. Try to see through your peripheral vision what these people are doing and read the entire body as a paragraph, okay? So head to toe, you want to look at the smallest details possible. And again, with the information I give you today, you're going to learn so many more little details that people are going to give away. It's what's called micro expressions as to how they're feeling in the interaction with you. This is person to person, okay? So now, who is the star of the movie? So I use this term to describe this next kind of heady bit of information we're about to get into, all right? So if the body's a paragraph and that's how we're operating in our world, perfect. We're telling people a story the entire time. However, there's also a story playing in our heads, okay? That story playing in our heads is our entire world that we are experiencing, okay? In that world we're experiencing, we are the principal character, the star, all right? What is this introducing? This is what's called your frame. This is my frame. This is your frame. This is everyone's frame. It's literally your state of mind. It's that conscious voice. It's how we operate through the world. Now, if you are the star of your own movie, but I'm the star of my own movie, we're all stars of our own movie, correct? Yes. Yes. So, what we get now is called a clash of frames. This is often where you get those terms of alpha. That person's an alpha male or an alpha female, right? That person's kind of a beta. That person's a delta. That comes from frames clashing and then people establishing their social hierarchy as to who leads interactions and who follows interactions. Oftentimes, if you ever meet somebody, and you obviously will or have, who's a very difficult person that you don't get along with. You've maybe said just a couple of things to them, or we just said hi, but it had this weird feeling of, I can't stand that person, right? what you have there is a clashing of frames, and no social hierarchy was established. Now, sometimes you're going to meet folks, and in 30 seconds I met you, it's like, oh man, I feel like I've known that person forever. They're great people, right? What happened there? We had frames not clashing, but coming together, okay? And that's very important. Now, what we can do with what we are learning and what we're about to learn is we can make sure that we are having more frames come together with the people that we're meeting, right, than having clashes. Because at the end of the day, we're in this to make money, and we're in this to serve our community, okay? So, that being said, recognizing and changing patterns. Every type of person in our frame, in our movie, we experience our movie 3 different ways. And we're all a combination of all of them. But you're visual, you're either kinesthetic, or you are auditory. Those 3, okay? Now, that being said, again, we're a mix of all of those, and we need to learn how to read these things. This comes from neuro-linguistic programming, NLP. It is the subset of psychology where you hear people say, oh, you can tell if somebody's lying by the way their eyes move. It's actually pretty true. We're going to cover that in a second. Why? Because our eyes are unfortunately a giveaway to our brain. Because our brain, we have to think and use it, and in thinking and use it, our eyes are going to move in a certain way to think and form thoughts in our brain. We can actually recognize this, and now we can actually use this to our advantage. So, that being said, if you're watching somebody's eyes, anything that is going to be on the left-hand side, this means that someone is pretty much telling the truth. Why? Because anything on the left-hand side is actually a memory recall. We're recalling things in our brain that have happened before. How do we know if you're lying? Well, on the right-hand side, anything on this right-hand side where their eyes move, this is actually memory creation. Now I'm actually making something up as I'm thinking and talking to you because I don't want to recall the actual truth. So one way I'm lying to you on this side, one way I'm telling you the truth over here. To the auditory, visual, and kinesthetic, we're going to have 3 tiers: top tier, middle tier, even with our eyes, and lower tier below our eyes. The high tier up here, so if our eyes are moving up and to the left and right, on either side, these are visual people. I have to visually recall something, or I have to visually make an image up in my head. On the middle line with our eyes, this is auditory people, okay? So if I'm looking this way, I'm remembering something that was said. If I'm looking this way, I'm making up something that was said. Down here on the low end, these are kinesthetic people, touch people, feeling people. If I'm looking this way, I'm remembering something that I touched or how I felt. If I'm looking down this way, I'm making it up, all right? So that being said, we need to recognize these particular patterns. Why? Because we want to take advantage of this as the communicators, okay? As the communicator, if I can understand whether you're visual, auditory, or kinesthetic, I can actually change my own behavior and my own speech to start influencing your brains. People who are visual will often say things, well, you know what? I just need to see the house first. I need to see what that kitchen looks like. If I don't see it, I'm not signing anything, right? I already know by watching their eyes, oh, this might be a visual person, and oh, okay, I need to start switching my behavior and my speech. So I'll say, well, you know what, Karen, let's go ahead, let's take a look at that kitchen, and then if you want to see the house next door, I'm happy to show it to you. Now I'm speaking that person's language. Now I'm creating one of those relationships where she's going to go home saying, you know what, I talked to that guy Dave for 5 minutes, I feel like I know him forever, I don't know why. Why? Because we spoke the same language, and now we're actually creating rapport through having those frames come together. Auditory people will use auditory words, right? Hey, I like the sound of that, right? Kinesthetic people will use that feeling word a lot. You know what, I just feel this is not the right time for me. You're going to have to call me a little later. So once you start picking up on these cues with people, right, again, start switching your speech to kind of emulate that. Very quickly, could I have one volunteer? Who wants to volunteer? Somebody, very quickly. Let's get you. You're right up here and close. We saw something before. I know you had your hand up first. Great. So I want you to stand here, please. Great. We're going to face this way. Awesome. So just stand right there. Everybody can see her face, see her eyes? Yeah, hope I'm not blocking anybody. If I tell you to freeze, try to freeze as best you can, okay? That's all. So I'm sorry, what was your name?
Graciela.
Graciela. Graciela, awesome. Nice to meet you. Graciela, what is your favorite color? Right there. Did everybody see that? Nice. So she's pretty much a visual person. We can say visual or auditory because her eyes were kind of in the middle there. Graciela, awesome. Thank you. Sorry, what was the best color? What was it? Blue, awesome. Blue's a beautiful color. What about your favorite movie? What's your favorite movie you enjoy? Boom, right there. Did everybody see that? So Ms. Graciela is an auditory person. So did you like how the presentation's going? Do you like what you're hearing so far?
Yes.
Nice, awesome. Thank you so much. Have a seat. So as you saw, do you like what you're hearing so far? I could have said, do you like what you see so far? Do you like what we're doing? Do you like how it feels in this room right now? So you can switch your speech to start to create rapport with people and bring it through the roof, all right? So quick exercise just so you can see that. This little quote I put up here, best way to find yourself is to lose yourself in the service of others. So kind of love the quote. It's a great quote, Gandhi, awesome. You know, as somebody who is in the service field, and we're all in the service field, these are kind of the little micro games that we can play with ourselves on a daily basis. So when you're dealing with a client, yeah, we can always deal with the contracts and ask the standard questions and make the calls and that whole thing. But this is kind of a great way to lose yourself in the person that you're with. Because at the end of the day, what we're doing is getting to know you better, and I'm getting to tailor my own way of being to you to make sure that you feel great about probably one of the biggest purchases that you're ever going to make in your entire life. Correct? So again, it's kind of a great little thing to lose yourself in them. And again, you know, just kind of an important part. So what are the right questions? So when it comes to real estate and making large purchases, we want to make sure that we are asking questions deep enough to get them to remember something. We need their eyes to move to start reading them. Oftentimes you will come across, and I've come across a few of them in my life, there are some pretty steely-eyed people that their eyes won't move. Happens. We just have to make sure to start asking deeper questions, okay? One of the questions I use is, tell me about the home that you're in right now. Oh, well, I love my home. Great. What led you to purchase that home? What made you, and once again, when we're finding out what they are, you know, what made you feel great about the purchase? What made you think that that was the right kind of home that you could see yourself in, right? We want them to start kind of opening their brains to us. Give me top three reasons why you bought your last house, right? And you'll see them. Well, you know what? I saw the backyard and my kids, you know, I know they can run out there. And then after I heard the price, it was great. And just as soon as I went with my husband, you know, it just felt right for us. Okay. So now I know that this person has a certain order. Visual, auditory, kinesthetic. Great. Now I can start changing my own pattern as well too. To say, well, you know what? Let's take a look at this house. Let's talk about some pricing. And then afterwards, if you feel right, maybe we'll sign a contract. Every time that I repeat that same order of how she thinks about the world, rapport is going up. Her defenses are going down. She's feeling great about the purchase. And this is how we are convincing people, okay? This is also part of relationship building and maintaining relationships. You'll hear that a lot. I hear that all the time. Make sure you maintain the relationship with your clients. Make sure you build a relationship. What is building? That's a very generic term. What is maintaining? It's this. It's making sure that our body languages are coming together and that we're feeling great about each other, but specifically that you, the client, buyer, person I'm trying to win over to influence, that you are feeling the best. Not me. Not about me. It's about you. Again, losing ourselves in the service of others. Okay? Great. So a couple things. Now we have to write stuff down. Highly recommend that you write down. I'm going to give you the 6 books that are going to start you off on your journey. Guarantee you, if you read every single one of these from cover to cover, you are going to change your entire life. Your relationships are going to get better. Your money and your job are going to get better. It's honestly the reason I am here standing in front of you today, and I'm a perfect example of practicing what I preach, okay? First things first is the definitive book of body language, okay? That's Barbara and Alan Pease. They are a couple. Very, very amazing people. That book is super complete in understanding all the little micro expressions and the processes that our bodies do on a daily basis. All right? Yeah, absolutely. The definitive book of body language. Yeah? Next one, ready? Tanya Reimann, The Power of Body Language. In the mid-2000s, she was huge. She blew up in kind of the psychology and NLP sector. She was consulting Fortune 500 companies. She is awesome. Talk about a powerful boss lady. She is awesome, and she has great technique when it comes down to dealing with difficult people, okay? Verbal Judo by George J. Thompson. Verbal judo. If everybody's, or some of us are familiar with judo, right? Judo, that whole thing of taking the person's energy and using it against them, right? This gentleman is amazing. He actually worked on the NYPD police force doing hostage negotiation for his entire career. He was talking people off ledges, okay? This gentleman translated his techniques and everything he learned in all his experience and has applied that to business. There's actually Cornell School of Business brought him in, almost maybe like 10 years ago to do a beautiful 2-hour-long seminar, which I believe is still on YouTube. Look it up. It's really, really great to teach their business students some of these techniques. He has a lot of body language mixed in with how he speaks to people to try to redirect them and interrupt their mental patterns. Games People Play by Dr. Eric Berne, or Berne. It's B-E-R-N-E, okay? Games People Play. These are these little subconscious games, kind of like that parlor trick I did at the beginning, right? But he goes more into details to why kind of folks, if we're familiar with shade, when you throw shade and all those things, right? What we're doing is we're saying something, it's how we're saying it, and then as well, not just how we're saying that, that's that how that we are using of how things are said in there, that's laced with so many other internal emotions, and we're doing this on a constant basis every single day, so very important, okay? Last one that I'm going to give you is called Instant Rapport. R-A-P-P-O-R-T by Michael Brooks, okay? B-R-O-O-K-E-S, if I'm not mistaken. Amazing. That guy really goes deep into understanding the eye movement, understanding more positive questions we can use to basically kind of influence our clients in the way that we want. He teaches a lot as far as mirroring people's techniques and their speech to increase the rapport that you're building with them, all right? I think I pretty much covered that all. So pretty much the end of it. Thank you for your time. Happy hunting. I hope this changes your life. I know it changed mine. If you have any questions.